So hopefully you can see that screen building. So what I thought I'd do is, before we get into the piece that you all want to see, which is the Duo, I thought I'd just share with you some of the things that we're seeing that hopefully might resonate with some of the challenges that you're experiencing, and also some of the ways that we can help you overcome those. And particularly, we are all working, or predominantly working from home in heavily distributed environments, whether in full or in part. And that is throwing up some new challenges, which I know are quite well documented now, as we're well into a year into this. But things that we are really speaking to our customers about are around the supply of equipment, how you physically get equipment to people's houses typically is causing sometimes a challenge in a timely manner, how those devices are provisioned. And we like to talk about the unboxing experience. So when those devices, whether it's a Surface or a Duo, turn up at that employee's house or in the office, how can we make that experience great for the employees so they don't have to hang around for ages trying to make sure everything works correctly, but equally is the very best experience for the IT teams as well, who, as you are well aware, are really under pressure at the moment. So we talk about the zero touch capability, whereby we like to ship a device, IT don't have to get involved, the user unboxes that device, and then hey presto, all their application services policies are all automatically provisioned onto that device. When that device is in the field, clearly one of the key things now is around security. And certainly if you are talking to our security practice, if you look at the direction of travel for some of the cyber criminals at the moment, they're moving away from focusing on efforts to encrypt data, to use as weapons to extract ransom from customers. And what they're doing now is they're really focusing their effort on encrypting the physical hardware. So it's more important than ever that endpoints are protected and the devices are up to date with the latest firmware and various security protection. So that's another thing that our customers talk to us about. How we generally manage that device when it is in the field, in whatever capacity. So that could be as things like how we keep firmware up to date, how we manage warranties, how we could be more proactive in making sure that devices are running to their optimum, but also some more practical things around redeployments. As employees either move out of the business or change roles, sometimes there's a need for that physical device to transition to someone else. How does that happen in a distributed environment? And certainly some of the tool set that we'll be talking about today, just makes that experience just all the easier. So if somebody does leave, we can take that hassle out of your hands. We will take the device back to base, re-image it and redeploy it. If it's in the office and it just needs to transition from different pods of desks, then clearly the tool set exists to be able to do a lot of that reconfiguration remotely. So we can talk a bit about that as well. There's also some of the challenges that people have around, maintaining an asset register, even more so if you've got some of your devices on a lease. So how can we make sure that asset register is up to date with the correct asset tags so people can be identified as the equipment moves between households? That's another challenge that we're seeing, and we've got some solutions around that. So there's all those considerations that exist today around, that the actual deployment and management of that device. There's also some other challenges that customers are facing that talk to us about around the whole physical aspects of the device, and really, how that physical device is going to help a specific individual with their role. So, for example, if you have a lot of people in the field, whether they're social workers or care workers, they may be a practitioner that's out in the field, out in the community, that's sitting with patients. Having physical barriers with big devices can sometimes cause a challenge, and it can break down that communication channel between the practitioner and the patient in some capacity. So those physical considerations really need to be taken with due consideration. So the size, the weight, the use, all those things are important. And then also, if people are working from home, the physical features of that device also need to be taken into consideration. So if we are expecting people to work from home or work in a different way, then it is more important than ever that people are heard and are seen. So it's important, therefore, that the devices that we're giving out to people do have a good camera, do have a good speaker, and do have a good graphics card and the right processor, so they can really do their job as productively and effectively as possible. And certainly also when you're looking at, the next wave of talent that comes into your business, certainly the feedback that we have had from customers and the conversations that they're challenging us with is how can we help them with their talent acquisition and talent retention policy. And specifically, the talent of tomorrow really is demanding a much more flexible, versatile and agile working environment. So we need to make sure we're giving them the tools that they need to really thrive in their role and be the leaders of tomorrow. So, those are some of the challenges that we're seeing. And, it's what's great about working with Microsoft is they are well ahead of that curve. They've been on this journey for a long time. And whilst no one could see the pandemic, the tool set that they have at their disposal and that you've got access to clearly has been in the building for a very long time now. And that really brings me on to the whole Surface as a range sort of generally. Now, we know that the Duo is the latest member of the Surface family, but the Surface as a whole, clearly has been around now for, I'm not sure the exact number of years, but it's got to be around 10 years or so. And, Microsoft have designed the Surface really to not just reflect some of those challenges that I've spoken about, but also, one of the things that Microsoft like to talk about and we like to amplify is this better together story. Microsoft for the first time have sat their physical software engineers next to their hardware engineers, and when they're building the next generation of their operating system, so Windows 10 in this case, and they're bringing the really rich feature sets, a lot of the capabilities that they want to bring to market, they're challenging their hardware teams to make sure the Surface and the range of Surface devices is really able to bring out the best in that software. So you'll hear things like chip to cloud, or silicon to cloud, which really is that unique story of where you've got an organization that is really, in touch with the needs of today's modern commerce and business and organizations as a whole, and able to provide a full solution, a hardware and a software solution that really helps organizations to thrive and be as productive as possible. When you look at the Surface range, for those that aren't familiar with it, Microsoft broadly categorize their devices into tablets. So these are the devices with detachable keyboards, and you would have seen those over the years. They also have their laptop range, and the top end of that is their Surface Book, which is a hybrid really between the flexibility of the tablet with a detachable keyboard, but also the power of some of the most powerful laptops that you can get. So it's a really versatile machine. They also have their physical desktop, the Studio, which really is aimed at the marketing and creative industries, which brings together, the best-in-class graphics cards and usability. So those are certainly really taken off as well. And the last one is the Hub, which, if you've not yet seen it, again, a new range of hubs are out now. And these are the really big physical interactive boards, screens that that sit on walls and can be easily transported from room to room, that enable companies to really embrace this hybrid working. So you might have a hub in your boardroom, for example, or in an executive office or in a training center, but then at home, there's those individuals are really benefiting from the Surface range as well. So everything that an organization needs really to really bring their working environment to the best possible case. And then of course the Duo, which I know you're bursting at the seams to see, and it is a cracking device. Certainly the feedback as a whole that Microsoft have collected over the years as they've developed their Surface range has been incredibly positive. People like working with the Surface, and certainly the direction of travel that Microsoft are taking the Surface range is really quite exciting. And I think I don't think I'm speaking out of turn if I said that back when the Surface was first out, it was a premium product. It was considered maybe quite expensive. Today, the world has changed dramatically. The range of devices that exists today have all the power that you'd expect, but at the commercial price point to make this device accessible for most organizations. And most importantly, there is a device for every single role type. And that really is, I think, what I see. I've been in the hardware business now for 20 odd years or so. And when I look at different manufacturers and what each of those brings to the market, the unique area that Microsoft play in, it really is that role-specific devices. This is an organization that intentionally doesn't have 60 different devices. They want a small number of devices, but each of those devices built around a specific use case. And you can see some of those on your screen here, whether it's a roaming customer service rep, a field service organization, or a mobile service rep. and I mentioned some of those other areas area as well around social care and those types of things. So our job really is to work with you to understand some of those use cases that you have within your business and how different people work, and that could be a case of you telling us, and then we can build a solution set around you. But equally, more recently, we're being asked to actually go out into the field and immerse ourselves in our customers' business to really get to know how people work. There's an example earlier where they have clinicians, they have office staff, they have mobile traders carrying out some really essential healthcare activities. You know, the more that we can understand that, the more valuable we can be as a partner to you. But equally, you may well have that intelligence already that you can share with us. So when we understand a bit more about the types of the roles that you're looking to serve, then it's our job really to help you come up with the best-in-class technology to suit that specific need. Okay, so it's a really great range. Of course, like I mentioned earlier, having a physical device is one thing, and Microsoft clearly have put a lot of time and effort and investment into designing the best-in-class hardware technologies. But really, from a unique proposition perspective, you know, the Microsoft proposition really comes to life and is in a class of one-on-one when really you start bringing in the Microsoft 365 toolset as well. So I'm sure there's not a person on this call that hasn't been working with Microsoft Teams. It certainly changed the way that we work. I think it was Satya Nadella said that we've seen 2 years transformation in 2 months last year. And what's interesting is the speed at which Microsoft are developing the Teams platform and the Office 365 suite as a whole to really make sure they're responding quickly to people's needs. If you're able to watch the video that's running in front of you, even things like this together mode, small things like this make a big difference if you have remote teams where you can put those teams in a similar environment, whether that's a classroom or auditorium or meeting room, so people feel a bit more included in that meeting and much more part of a single community versus you know, someone sitting at home that feels sometimes quite isolated. So lots of investment going into making sure that the whole productivity piece is absolutely the best it possibly can be. So once again, we have a team of people that can help ensure you're fully up to date with the changes that are happening within the Microsoft platform, that Microsoft 365 world, and most importantly, ensure that that we are working with you to help ensure your employees are getting the most out of those new features. We have a very mature training division who can not only help with the sort of the physical training of how to use some of these systems, but also how you as a company can help land some of this technology so it's adopted and used in the best possible way. So just some of the benefits of the Teams environment is in front of you there, which we're happy to share these slides with you afterwards. And like I said, that together mode is something that we're seeing a lot more sort of traction of. This is my last slide before I hand over to Liz, which really talks around, like I mentioned earlier, it's more important than ever that people are seen and they are heard. And that really is what I think you're seeing as you understand more about the Surface range. So what I'll do now is hand over to Liz, and when she's finished talking about the great benefits that the Duo can bring to you and your organization, I'm going to take back the talking stick just to explain more how you can really manage these devices, whether it's the Duo or the full Surface range. I'll give you an idea about costs, so you can get an idea in your head about how much this stuff is going to cost you, and really then I can talk about how we can help as your partner manage those devices for the life of their agreement or your agreement. So hopefully that's been useful for now. I'll be back in a bit, but Danny, if you can help me pass this over to Liz, that would be tremendous.
Good morning, everybody. Has my screen come through?
Yes, I can see that.
Awesome. Just want to check that. Right. Let me throw that into presenter mode. So yes, good morning, everybody. I am Elizabeth Melville. Feel free to call me Liz or Lizzie, happy with either. I am a Surface specialist at Microsoft. I cover our manufacturing and resources business, meaning I cover everything from the automotive industry, all the way up to gas, oil, and electric. But I'm not going to talk specifically towards my industry today. Talking a bit of an overview of the brand new Surface Duo in general. Thank you very much for Bytes for inviting me to be here today. I'm very excited, and I'm going to start with throwing a quick video on the kind of history of the innovation of Surface, There is no sound to it, but please feel free to sing or hum your favorite tune to it. Awesome. So as you have seen in that first video, year after year, Surface keeps coming out with new ideas, some of which are a bit outrageous and some are just plain fun. But all of Surface innovation is driven by the needs of our customers. We listen and we innovate, and that is how we are here today, as there is a new way to get things done, which is the Surface Duo. Again, I'm going to kind of talk over this video, which will kind of give you a very slick overview of what this Duo is, because unfortunately I don't have one here to show you today. But it is a world-class product in a design of its own. Yeah, I'll let the video do the talking. Okay, I think that video gives a great overview of all the features that are brand new in this Surface Duo. I think now we're going to dive into what is this all about and why now? Why has Surface come out with the Surface Duo now? The return to hybrid working world means that people will be working while on the move far more frequently. Darren spoke a lot about the move back out of complete remote working and back to where people are going to be splitting their time between office and home. And research has shown that employees, especially those who are not desk bound, if we're thinking frontline workers, mobile sales rep, manufacturing floor managers, they need and want a tool that allows them to accomplish tasks without needing multiple devices. Most of us struggle to be productive with just our smartphone alone. It can't do everything we need it to do at the moment, like present, but also engage with the people you're on a call with. And even though people can't create and edit documents efficiently, 81% of people struggle through it anyway, with just one screen and very little inking capabilities. 72% of people struggle to stay productive on their smartphone. 50% of employees use 3 devices to get work done, and 42% of people see increased productivity with 2 screens. It's these statistics that have driven Surface to innovating the Surface Duo. As we return to work from home, with mobile working again becoming critical, companies are going to need a device that allows employees to be productive regardless of location. For years, we've adapted our jobs to the tools we had at hand, but with the Surface Duo, our customers are excited now to have a device that is fit for the job. People are imagining new ways to use the Surface Duo every day, with the dual screen option unlocking new possibilities for app developers. This is a new phase of mobile productivity. It's gaining momentum every day, and we're expanding the availability to keep up with the demand. It's clear that our customers and people are tired of hammering. They are ready for a tool that is more suited to the modern day. So we now know why the moment has called for mobility, ease, and efficiency, regardless of location. Now let's look at the specific features within the Duo that's made this possible. From our first Surface device that featured that kickstand, which was a complete revolution at the time in devices, to this moment with the Surface Duo, Surface continues to push the envelope on design. Surface Duo is the latest dual screen Surface device. It opens into the thinnest mobile device on the market at 4.8 millimeters when open and less than 1 centimeter when closed. The 360-degree rotation gives individuals the flexibility to do more with multiple angles and positions in one device. The dual PixSense displays of two 5.6-inch screens that open to be 8.1 inches gives people a device that is large enough for them to use on the go and be that efficiency. All the integrity that you've come to know with Surface designs shows up in the Surface Duo. But how does the Surface Duo create this mobile productivity? Let's take a time to really understand what the features in the Duo that drive this mobile productivity. First, you have room to focus. Open and view different apps on each screen to reference and compare content. No more switching between apps on one screen. Drag and drop allows you to move images, text, files between two screens without having to copy and paste while switching apps. Enhanced apps have been built for the Surface Duo. It's built now to fill the two screens to get the best experience and have a wider field of view. Being able to view your Outlook, so not only your current email, but the other emails in your inbox, giving you that really succinct view on your emails. And finally, as you saw in the video at the beginning, a completely unique feature to Surface Duo is app combos, where you can pair and launch two apps simultaneously, each on its own full screen, custom to you. I know for a fact that, like the video, whenever I like to brainstorm and I'm planning, I always listen to music. So as soon as I get my Duo, I know OneNote is going to be paired with Spotify. As you might expect, Surface Duo is how we see our customers giving their employees the tools they need to communicate and collaborate so they can get their best work. The Duo allows you to take notes on one screen while having a call on the other. It also will give people the opportunity to present with confidence, but while also seeing the reactions from their colleagues on the other screen. They can access and work on documents in the cloud, share this via Microsoft Teams, and add to a chat thread just as you would on a PC. And similarly, you can work on two apps at once, with one on each screen, making your mobile workstation truly productive. We chose the Android operating system because, like the Microsoft productivity platform, it's more familiar to the people in the world. It makes sense to bring together the most powerful Microsoft productivity apps with the easy access of mobile apps that the Android system offers. Your IT team can manage the entire Surface Duo experience for employees and protect work data with a variety of device management solutions. And because it's a Microsoft Surface device, you do get that chip to cloud enterprise level built-in security at every level. Now I'm going to talk to how Surface Duo incorporates seamlessly into the other Surface environments. When we created the Duo, we were mindful of the anywhere nature of work. You're not always in the office, you're working from home, you're working on a train. Sometimes, once hopefully they will open up again, we can work in a coffee shop, but you can't afford holes in productivity. You need a device that enables you to maintain your work efficiency regardless of location. The Surface Duo answers this problem by making all your files available to you regardless of your location in 3 ways. First, everything is always updated on your Surface Duo when you're signed into your Microsoft 365 account. Second, Surface Duo can connect the full Windows 10 experience in the cloud with Windows Virtual Desktop, so you can access everything critical to business no matter where you are with the security requirements in place. And third, when you're on your PC, you can access all your Surface Duo apps with a service through the Your Phone app. So you don't have to have that clunky experience where they're not in sync. Your Duo will seamlessly connect to your PC. I'm not going to deep dive today into the security of the Surface Duo, conscious of time, but please know that if security in the Surface Duo is something that you wanted to hear more about, either reach out to Bytes after this call or reach out to your Microsoft account liaisons, and they will happily arrange to have a conversation where they can deep dive into Surface security. At a high level, Surface Duo has had protection built in at every layer with deeply integrated hardware, firmware, and software to keep your devices, identities, and data secure. From customer fingerprint sensors for enterprise-level grade biometric security to management configurations that separate work and personal data and maintain that security through the device. Duo, like all Surface products, has been created with security at the center. We're now going to go into a little bit of a fun day in the life with a Duo. So, this is Charles. Charles starts the day at 8 AM, bright and early, a bit too early if you ask me, with a check-in call with his teammates using the Duo as a phone function, because you are able to take and receive calls on the Surface Duo. At 10 AM, he has a collaboration session with the Duo Intent mode, seamlessly connecting to the Surface earbuds via FastPair. If you see here, Charles is able to see his teammates with ease as that wide screen, he can see all their reactions. At 1 PM, he can respond to an email with the keyboard filling up one of the screens to not restrict typing as it does happen on a classic smartphone. At 2 PM, he can schedule a team regroup using the enhanced app features to view both his inbox and his calendar on Outlook. And finally, to close out the day, like myself, Charles obviously uses the app combos of Spotify and OneNote to get that brainstorming session in. And then at 5 PM, he plans his next day efficiently using the drag and drop where he can take his tasks listed in Teams and put them in a to-do list for the next day. Okay, so that was just a bit of fun to look at a day-to-day with a Duo. Now we're going to do a little bit more of a specific view at where the Surface Duo fits into specific industries. We're going to start with energy and utilities. We really see the Surface Duo being appealing to frontline workers and warehouse workers. Frontline workers need a device that can support inking and allow its users to be highly productive. Surface Duo's dual screen allows for multitasking while on the move. Inking capabilities will allow it to be used to capture signatures of customers and do sign-off orders within warehouses. But the weight of the Duo means it's highly portable and not cumbersome for highly mobile frontline workers. If we then jump to look at manufacturing, here we see it being very applicable to executives and mobile sales reps. The Duo's portability is what makes it really appealing to a highly mobile workforce. I've spoken a lot today about the return to mobile working and the need for a device that enables productivity on the move. This is where Surface Duo is in a league of its own. The dual screens will allow execs to multitask on the go with ease. Similarly, as I've said, the Duo can function as a replacement for the smartphone as it is capable of making and receiving calls, but it can also function as that perfect companion device for an executive who needs to remain connected regardless of his location or her location, allowing executives to reduce the number of devices they have to carry to stay productive. Now, if we look at healthcare, on-the-go productivity and collaboration and secure data access. These are key things that are important to the healthcare industry. You have doctors, nurses, administrative staff, and executives, all of whom could benefit from the Duo. I think we all know healthcare is one of the fastest moving industries day to day. They need a device that supports that pace and the need to be able to collaborate. The Duo's portability and dual screen function, again, would be ideal for doctors and nurses to be able to check and update patients' data on one side of the screen while taking notes internally and using a chat function on the other. not having to swap between screens, but get a clear view all up of that patient's history and schedule orders. And the final deep dive industry case study we'll look at is the financial services, where again there is use cases for both the executives who desire a device that is pocketable but powerful enough for them to maintain productivity. The Duo's ability to function as a phone while still connect to the full Windows 10 experience will allow financial executives to feel at ease while on the go, knowing that they have a device that will not prevent them from getting the work done that they need to get done regardless of where they are. But also mobile sales reps and facilities managers will benefit from a device that offers inking and paying capabilities, but supports the concept of taking banking out of the banks and out to customers. As we return from this remote working, people want that connection again, and therefore people need a device that's mobile with them. The concept of being remote completely, it's not as appealing to people as time goes on. They want to get to know who they're working with, but as employees, we need our colleagues and ourselves to have devices that can let us go out into the workplace. So I think the tagline that we use when we speak about Duo, got mixed words then, is there's a new way to get things done. The Surface Duo, it fits in your pocket, but it's the full powered productivity device. From an all-day battery life that lasts power throughout your day, and when you need the boost, you can go from full to low battery to full with fast charging. PixelSense Fusion displays to give you that clear view of what you're looking at. And then the widescreen function, you can see and do more with this. The revolutionary 360-degree hinge, work in a way that's best for you. The adaptive camera optimized with artificial intelligence. The fact that it won't weigh you down, how thin and light it is, it's not a cumbersome device for people who need to be on the move. You can write and sketch on the screen with Light Surface Slim Pen. Mobile typing re-image with the adaptive keyboard that optimized for every mode. Secure one-step sign-in with a built-in fingerprint reader for not only enhanced security, but also ease. And then the final point I would say is your PC loves your Surface Duo too. With the Your Phone app and the Windows 10 PC, you get instant access to everything you love on your phone, right on your computer. Sorry, it's frozen. There we go. So as I say, there's a new way to get things done, and we do see this being the Surface Duo. I'm now going to pass back over to Darren, who will dive even further into the Surface Duo. But massive thank you to everyone for taking the time today to learn a little bit more about the brand new Surface product.
Great, thank you so much. Sorry, quickly, I've got a question for you, Elizabeth, before Darren dives into his piece. A user has asked, what's the battery life for this particular product?
Am I on mute? Have I muted myself back? No, I haven't. Sorry.
Yeah, I can hear you. No, I can hear you, Liz.
So the battery life, we say it's all day. On average, all day battery life, we found it came out to about 8 hours of testing. Obviously, depending on how the specifics of what you're doing, that's what we found it as a average use throughout the day.
Okay, brilliant, thank you. I can see someone's asked about costs, so I'll let Darren cover that in his bit. Great, thank you, Elizabeth.
Great stuff. Thanks, Liz, that was amazing. Danny, if you can do the honours with the talking stick, that would be great. It's just exciting to actually launch or be here to actually launch a new product. Can you see my screen, hopefully? If you can't, that'd be good if someone can let me know. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to just spend, just a very short amount of time just talking about some of the practicalities around how we manage the Duo together with other Surface devices. I will give you an understanding of costs as well, but I just think it's quite rare, where actually we're able to bring to market a brand new product that actually is different, it's game changing, it's disruptive, all those great things that we'd like to talk about. So I think it's very much that the answer is a Duo. What's the question? So going back to my point earlier, our job really is to help you understand those use cases and that value for money and that business case. So assuming that the Duo or the Surface devices or the range is something that you'd like to really get into and deploy within your estate, clearly there is the manageability issue that I spoke about at the start. And once again, Microsoft have got a fantastic tool set that we use if we're asked to manage fleets on behalf of our customers. One of those is Endpoint Manager. So once again, with the Duo, exactly the same tool set that you'd manage your Surface devices with, your laptops in your studio with, you can use to manage the Duo as well. Okay, so we use this all the time to help organizations bring to life the applications that you see on the left-hand side. So normally you might be using Intune or Configuration Manager or another endpoint management tool. The Microsoft Endpoint Manager technology, the tool set, really brings the best of all those together, actually, to make it a lot easier for you and for us to manage those endpoints and make sure that they are sufficiently right for the individuals that are using them. Another tool set that you may not be aware of is the device firmware configuration interface as well. So specifically, if you are looking to use Autopilot, which I'll talk about next, then this is another great tool set to help you really set those users up and manage those UEFI settings as you go. So as those devices change hands and get redeployed, and the policies need to be set up, then all that can be done very succinctly from this tool set. But I think one of the most powerful applications that Microsoft have, that's been around for a couple of years, but I think it's only really in the last year that it's really come to the minds of most IT companies and IT organizations and departments, is Autopilot. So for those that haven't yet had the chance to really get into Autopilot, and I know it's gone through some iterations, this is the tool set that really is the piece that gives you that ability to deploy applications, policies, and services to your end users from a zero-touch perspective. IT teams, they can't physically be next to people if they're in people's houses, unless you've got a lot of IT people at your disposal. And Autopilot is the answer to that. So just a very quick example here. So old world, which is obviously going back a little while now, you'd build your image, you'd stick it on a USB of some type, you'd image that device, and you'd repeat until all those devices are sufficiently configured. And we've got the capability to configure about 10,000 devices a day. So if you are in the midst of a rollout or considering a rollout, then certainly we can do that for you. But there is a better way than a good old-fashioned USB, and Autopilot is that answer. So what we do is you set the users up using the technologies I've just mentioned, and then before the device is shipped, we enroll them into Autopilot. So when that device turns up at the other end, the user unboxes their device or their Duo. They then tap in some of their credentials, as you see on this video demo here, which takes just a few moments. And then once they've tapped in their credentials, all of the access rights, application rights, services and policies, and anything else that you've set up for them are automatically applied to their profile, and those are pushed down to that device. So once again, this doesn't matter if it's a traditional Surface device or if it's the brand new Duo that you've just seen. The technology is the same tool set to manage all those devices. So it really makes that unboxing experience a lot richer for the individual and takes the burden away from IT. Now, if you didn't want your employees to go through this process, you might have some employees that either don't want to, don't have time, or just don't have the ability, or don't think that they do. Then Bytes can do the service for you. We call it a white glove service. So we can do that work that you've just seen. So when the device turns up at the other end, the user logs in as you see them logging in here. And all that background work has been done. The cost for these services are very competitive. If you want the enrollment service, you're looking at about £5. So that's it. So it's a one-off cost per user. And if you want the full white glove service, it's around the £15 mark. So it just means it takes the burden away from you, and then we can make sure that your employees get that really good, rich experience. Also, it means, of course, that if we're doing that work for you, then the likelihood of a dead on arrival is incredibly slim. I mean, certainly the DOAs that exist these days are minimal compared to what they were many years ago, but we don't want dead on arrivals. We want applications ready and those devices really working to their absolute best when they turn up at the other end. So we can work with you to make that experience the best it can be and give you the tool set that you need to manage those devices yourselves, or we can provide that to you as a managed service. So just the kind of last couple of slides from me. So we talk about this Surface device as a service. This is a proposition that we've been building now for a long time. and some organisations and some customers sometimes just think this is about us putting the device on a lease. It's a bit more sophisticated than that. But what I will say, and this is what I'll talk about the cost, is that if you are looking to take these devices and you wanted to really preserve your cash, we all know cash preservation is king. Liquidity is never more important than ever before. Many organisations now are at least considering the option to take devices on a lease, and this is the key reason why. Because what we do, and this Surface is a prime device for this. We have an algorithm that we use to work out what that device should be worth after the expiry of your agreement. Typically 3 years, between 3 and 4 years is normal for these types of devices. So in most cases, these devices should retain about 20% of their value. Okay, so let's, for argument's sake, that you take a Duo and it's going to cost you, give or take, £1,000. That device should have a residual value of about £200 at the end of the agreement. We take the £200 off of the £1,000 to leave 800, and then we finance it. So what that means for you as a IT team or organisation that's looking to deploy this equipment is you can provide equipment to your employees for less than cash purchasing and applying a straight line depreciation. So as one illustration, if you're going to get access to a £900 device and you're going to depreciate that asset over 3 years, so straight line £300 a year down to zero, that asset will be depreciating at about £25 a month. You can get access to that exact same device for between £21 and £22 a month. So over the term of that agreement, typically 3 years, you're paying back less than you would if you're going to cash purchase that asset up front. And at the end of that agreement, you have options. You can buy that device if you want to, and title can transfer to you. You can continue leasing at a lesser rate, or in most cases, you'd give us a call and we'll look to upgrade that device for the latest and greatest that's on the marketplace. So when you take the leasing aspect and then start bundling in some of the other services that we can provide, which, like I said, there's a number of pre-dispatch services, Autopilot being one of those, and there are some others that we can do for you, right through to potentially on-site deployment if that's what you need. We can manage the warranties on these devices, whether they're standard warranties or extended warranties. And by an extended warranty, that means that those devices are covered for accidental coffee spillages or if you drop them. And then on top of that, we can proactively monitor and manage those devices for you using the tool set that I've just showed you. So that device keeps running through the life of its agreement on a proactive basis. From a business continuity perspective and a cybersecurity and risk perspective, that device is the best it possibly can be. And then at the end of the term, you have options as well. We can either take the device back to factory settings and certify that it's been cleaned, or we can destroy it and certify that it's been destroyed. And once again, if that device needs to be redeployed during that term, then we could do that for you as well. So what that means from your perspective then, if you're serious about thinking about these devices, and if you did want to think about getting them on a monthly basis, so either we can supply you the equipment at the least, the most competitive or the least cost that there is on the market, and by that we'll look at your Microsoft 365 agreement, we'll look at all the different available discounts that are on the market for you to come out with the bottom cost. So you can either cash purchase that device, or you can look at different financial models that will work with you. So if you take the device and also look at the services for something like the Duo, so the list price of a Duo, which there's very few people that would need to pay this, you're looking at between £1,020 and £1,100. By the time we've applied discounts and added in the services and stretched that payment over 3 years, you're looking at a payment of around about the sort of the £25 to £35 per month per user. Okay, and that'll be fully loaded with all the services that you need to deploy that asset to somebody's house or office, zero touch, with all the warranty included and the management as well. So that £25 to £35 a month roughly is what you're looking at for the Duo. For the Surface range as a whole, whether it's an entry-level Surface Go tablet with a keyboard that comes off, or you've got the Surface Book 3 at the other end, the Surface Go, you're typically looking at the sort of £15 to £20 a month, which is fully loaded with all the services I've mentioned. And the Surface Book 3, which is the real powerhouse of the Surface range, you're looking at £45 to £50 a month. So, the Surface range, there's a device to suit every budget, and there's a device to suit every need and every role. And our job as your partner is to advise you and help you understand the different devices that are available, the different promotions that are available, how to get the most out of your Microsoft 365 agreement, and how we can really help you manage that asset at a zero touch and zero effort capability. So that's kind of brings us to the end of this presentation. I hope you've enjoyed seeing more about the Duo. We do have time for questions. So if I open the floor, if anyone here wants to ask any questions about what you've seen today, I'm sure between myself and Liz, we can help you. So happy to hang around for 5 minutes or so if you want to